If you are enjoying this animated book summary, please subscribe to our channel and like this video. Also, make sure you check our app Morfosis after the video. We have more animated book summaries on our app. Click the link in the description to get a 7-day free trial.
Idea 1. In the minds of the new rich, wealth means luxury in the now. You work a full week, right? Perhaps you're working even longer hours. You feel like you have no energy at all. You feel anxious all the time. You do anything to break out of the routine, yet it seems impossible. The job you're in is shacking you up. You can't afford to lose your job. The good news is that there is a way to avoid the typical office job. A method can be used. That is precisely what we will do as we investigate these concepts. Yet, before we go into the formula, let's discuss the location of your escape and the author's journey there. Making it into the ranks of the new rich is the objective. Financial independence and ease of travel are hallmarks of the new rich subculture. They are not bound by anything holding them back. As for where they end up, that's all up to them. They take charge and make all the decisions. They come to the conclusion that now is the time to follow your passions and experience life to the fullest. My question is, how do you accomplish this? How do you realize your goals and aspirations in this very moment? This is just another truth that the new rich have come to appreciate. There are really just two requirements: more independence and more spare time. You see, when you sum up all the things the average person thinks of when they imagine a millionaire, fancy cars, mansions, butlers, etc., you get two things: more freedom and more free time. And you don't need a multi-million-dollar fortune to enjoy them. And so that's the plan. Increase your independence and leisure time while also becoming one of the new rich. Both of these were acquired by the author somewhat accidentally. He once found himself in a similar predicament to yours back in 2004. He had taken on too much. In other words, he was worn out. The truth is that he was so stressed and tired that he hit a burnout and needed to rest. On the other hand, this interruption ended up being a boon. His travels around the world during his time off lead him to the conclusion that he could successfully operate his firm from anywhere in the world. And with little to no effort on his part, suddenly, he was one of the new rich. Seems to be magic, but isn't. If you want to live a life of luxury, all you need is greater independence and more leisure time. Both are necessary for having the freedom to accomplish what you want, when you want, and from anywhere you want. But neither can be earned by putting in the typical 8 hours every day. Let's go to the magic formula that will grant you every ounce of independence and leisure time your heart desires. Idea 2. Rethink what it means to be rich in content. In this case, the formula is known as the deal formula, and it denotes definition, elimination, automation, liberation. Well, so let's begin with the letter D and talk about what that means. Perhaps you've noticed, but we've begun developing some new conceptualizations. We have started the process of redefining prosperity. Keep in mind that financial success isn't the only criterion for enjoying the lifestyle typically associated with those who are worth $1 million. It's all about adopting the habits of the wealthy. To sum up, having a lot of cash on hand isn't necessarily indicative of wealth. It's about being able to enjoy the luxuries of life normally reserved for those with a lot of money, such as taking a long vacation on a beautiful tropical island, going skydiving anytime you choose, or spending more time with your loved ones. So the ability to do the things you enjoy is directly proportional to your level of money. It's not about how much money you have, but about how much time you have. The word happy is another one that has to be rethought. Most individuals identify achieving happiness as a primary life goal, but what does that even entail? The author argues that boredom, not melancholy, is the antithesis of joy. So the most accurate description of joy is anticipation. Spend your time doing activities that excite you, because that's the key to happiness. In the author's case, this meant going all over the world and winning a kickboxing championship and breaking a tango record in the process. That could have a very different meaning to you. Having a nice home, a high-paying career, and a comfortable retirement won't make you happy if you're not passionate about your work. After realizing that contentment isn't some far-off goal that you'll only experience when you have enough money or enough things, and that wealth isn't about massive piles of cash, the question shifts from how to earn as much as possible to how to free up as much time as possible, time in which you can do all those things that excite you. The elimination step is where the deal methodology really shines. Idea 3. Don't be too rule-bound. As a society, we should question our adherence to societal norms and rules that lead us to an unsatisfying rat race and delayed retirement. If the established procedure isn't producing the desired results, try something new. For instance, a straddle method was traditionally used by high jumpers to clear the bar. The new method of going backwards over the bar was developed by Dick Fosbury. With this strategy, he triumphed at the 1968 Olympic Games. Since the strategy produced positive results, ultimately all high jumpers began employing it. It's true that living by the 4-hour workweek is currently an anomaly, but that has nothing to do with its merits or potential. But remember that there is such a thing as taking a concept too far. Differentiation without utility is pointless. For instance, it serves no purpose to stick to a wardrobe consisting solely of red garments of varying colors. Only when the standard procedure has proven ineffective should you begin exploring alternative methods. There are 10 guidelines for rule breaking. Thinking of retirement in the classic sense as a backup option is appropriate. Instead of saving for retirement as a means to an end, you should have it ready in the event that something catastrophic happens and you are rendered unable to work. Putting off retirement until later wastes your best years on work you may not even enjoy. Saving enough money to achieve your ideal standard of living is highly unlikely. Inflation eats away at retirement savings year after year, and retirement can last decades. If you're ambitious, you might be able to save enough for retirement, but the infinite leisure time can drag you back to the workforce. Work and relax in alternating cycles. If you work too hard for too long, you will hurt yourself. Work and retirement should be balanced out rather than taking up the bulk of your time. Here's an example. After 2 months of work, the author takes off a month to do something he really enjoys. It's okay to feel lazy. What you call laziness may not be what it really is. Because measuring production is more difficult, people often use the amount of time they put in as a proxy for their effort. This is a cultural norm as well. Individuals are praised for their selflessness rather than their efficiency. Laziness in the eyes of the new rich is defined as a lack of motivation to make positive changes or pursue deeper significance in one's existence. Do it now, there is no better time. The answer is no. You will never get anything done if you second-guess yourself, compile lists of pros and cons, and wait for the perfect time. Put action before apologies. Don't bother asking for approval before taking something that won't have lasting consequences. It's far simpler for people to reject an idea before it's ever proposed. After it has begun, they will be less likely to try and stalk you. One such person is Dave Camarillo, who recently began working from home. He had always dreamed of seeing China, so he finally did so. He informed his manager after operating remotely in China for nearly a month and received approval. Think on what you're good at. Spend your time and energy on what you're good at instead of focusing on improving your weaknesses. You'll have greater success and have more enjoyment. Focusing your efforts on your strengths will yield much better results than those you put into improving your weaknesses. No amount of time spent on the latter will ever bring it up to the level of the former. Admit that you have an issue with excess. When something is overused, its positive traits can become detrimental. If you want to learn how to appreciate your free time, the 4-hour workweek is not for you. Instead, it teaches you how to make the most of the time you already have. Keep in mind that money is just one variable in a much wider equation. Laziness and procrastination can be seen as a sort of financial inaction. You can put off making the changes that would make you happier right now if you prioritize producing money now for fun later. Money is a diversion, although a powerful and pervasive one that impacts practically everyone. Check your math. Depending on the currency, $1 may not be the best measure of its value. Absolute income and relative income are the two types of financial stability. While relative income is useful, it is crucial to have a total income that makes you happy. Income in absolute terms is the whole monetary amount. Your total annual income is $50,000 if you earn that much per year. Time is a factor in relative income, which normally examines earnings on a per-hour basis. Using a 2,000-hour work year as an example, a salary of $25/hour and 40 hours/week of work will net you $50,000, whereas a salary of $100/hour and 10 hours/week of work will net you $60,000 respectively. Learn to tell the many forms of stress apart from one another. Only one of the two types of stress is harmful. The two types, with the negative one first. Negative emotions like tension are detrimental. Abusive relationships are painful relationships that contain abuse, criticism, and anguish. Stress can be beneficial if it pushes us to expand and improve. Those in our support system are the ones that motivate us to do better, get in shape, and test our limits. It's important, and it's a precondition for advancement. By sticking to these guidelines, you too may join the ranks of the new rich. Idea 4. Confront your phobias head-on. Fear is the biggest factor preventing individuals from adopting the 4-hour workweek lifestyle. When faced with the terrifying prospect of addressing their anxieties of failure and the unknown, most individuals would prefer just remain miserable. In addition, many of us experience a form of uncertainty avoidance that is less well known. Optimistic denial. If your employment isn't terrible, you can always tell yourself that things will improve with time, or that a raise will solve all your problems. Rather than making a real change in your life that might make you happier, you'll keep up the charade. Consider where you were a month or a year ago to see if you are a victim of hopeful denial. Have things improved since then? If they aren't, then another year won't make much of a difference. Fear setting. Taking the time to identify your anxieties or fear set is the first step in overcoming them. Concerns tend to fade as you gain clarity regarding your nature. As you break down your worries into manageable chunks, you'll be better able to identify preventative measures. While utilizing a fear-setting strategy, there are 6 things to ask. They're more than just a mental challenge. You should write down your solutions. Take the quiz twice, once when considering a new career path and once while contemplating a current one. These are the issues. First, what might go wrong? What would the long-term price tag be for your activities from lowest to highest on a scale from 1 to 10? What are the odds that the worst-case scenario will occur? What would you do if the worst-case scenario occurred? Think about what it would take to undo your changes and return to the original situation. In what ways would you attempt to right your financial ship? A short-term solution is better than none at all. Third, what are the most probable outcomes and how likely are they? Think about both the inside and the outside, your character development. What is the long-term price tag for these choices from your perspective? Just how likely are you to succeed? 4. What are you avoiding doing due to your fear? Oftentimes, the things that give you the greatest anxiety also end up being the most crucial to your success. According to the author, one indicator of progress is how many difficult discussions we've engaged in. Recognize that you might experience terrible outcomes, yet take the chance nevertheless. 5. What are you risking by not taking any action? In light of the answers to the preceding 4 questions, please consider the consequences of not taking action. Would you look back on this period of inactivity with regret? The worst-case scenario is when you do nothing, which can lead to consequences that last forever or at least longer than your lifetime, being unhappy. 6. Why haven't you taken any action? Your first thought probably involves timing, which isn't a great justification. Recall the 9 rules to breaking the rules. You probably aren't doing anything because you're too terrified to take action. Idea 5. Definition. Before you do anything to join the NR, you need to know how this new game works and what the goals are. In reality, this means getting rid of old, useless beliefs and replacing them with ones that are more in line with the NR way of life. Different things are important to new money-elites and delayed lifers. Those who want to join the NR must be willing to go against what most people think about how to move up in their careers and instead forge their own ways. Here are the 10 main ideas that guide the NR way of life. First, you should think of retirement as something that will happen, not as the end of your career. Plan for retirement as a backup, but don't let that stop you from living life to the fullest right now. Instead of putting all of your retirement savings into your 401k or IRA, look into other tax-advantaged ways to save. Second, between bursts of business activity, it's important to take mini retirements to relax and recharge. Interest and energy tend to go in cycles. Don't waste time working when you're tired and unmotivated. Instead, focus on getting things done when you can give them your all. Third, putting in less work is not the same as slacking off if that work is focused on getting the best results. Develop real-world ways to spend less time at the office without letting your work suffer. Spend more time doing things that are useful and less time being busy. There's never a good time to quit a safe job and go out on your own, so don't wait until the stars are in the right place before taking the leap. Put someday in place of today. 5. It's more fun to ask for forgiveness than for permission, so do whatever you want to do without waiting for permission. Practice making problems, but be ready to say sorry if you really do something wrong. 6. Instead of trying to fix your flaws, look for ways to show off your good qualities. Instead of fixing things that aren't broken, focus on how you can use your best tools better. You can have too much of a good thing, so don't waste your free time just lounging around. Do what you want and don't feel like you have to do anything. Don't use money as an excuse for anything. Remember that it's rarely the answer. Don't waste your time wishing for a better life by saying things like, "I'd do it if I had more money." At some point, trying to get rich for its own sake stops being worth it. Do what makes you happy and move on with your life. 9. Know the difference between absolute and relative income and focus on increasing your hourly rate of return. Absolute income is the total amount of money earned. Your relative income is how much money you make compared to how long it takes you to make that money. Assuming you have enough absolute income to pay all your bills, you should instead focus on increasing your relative income. Putting in more time at work won't get you where you want to go. What will get you there is a higher rate of return on that time. 10. Use good stress, which is also called eustress, to your advantage. This is the kind of stress that helps people grow in a good way. Even though negative stress can be bad for your health, working hard to reach your goals while under pressure can be rewarding and helpful. Since you can't get anywhere without it, it's a good idea to increase your level of eustress. One way to get what you want is to look up to people who have already done what you want to do. By following these rules, the NR is able to find problems in a way that goes against what most people think is right. The NR are most interested in adrenaline. It's sad to think about doing the same thing every day for a whole decade. On the other hand, the NR are determined to try things that normal people would say are impossible. They never know that it's often easier to go for something completely crazy and impossible than to settle for the normal, realistic goals that most people have. If you want to join the NR, you need to learn how to set deadlines for your goals and start taking actions right away that will help you reach those goals. When using this kind of dream attainment blueprint, you should think about your monthly cash flow, how much money you get, and how much you spend. Most financing options, such as commercial payment plans or buying in installments, lead to a lower total price. If you want to buy a Ferrari, it sounds a lot easier to pay $2,953 a month than $200,000 all at once. Idea 6. Elimination. Put an end to the idea that you could get better at managing your time. That's fine if you don't mind living your life later. If you want to be as productive in 2 hours as you were in a full day, you'll need to be 10 times as productive per hour. To do this, you need to be willing to be blind. Keep the amount of information you take in to a minimum. Practice being able to ignore things that don't matter. Find real ways to cut down on waste, and you'll have the key to a new way of lifetime. Every adult eventually realizes that working from 9 to 5 every day isn't the best thing. It's just how most people are used to things being done, whether or not it's required. In fact, if you take the time to find out where your best results come from, you'll probably find that 2 universal laws are at work. Pareto's principle says that 80% of the results will come from the top 20% of contributors. Parkinson's law says that as the amount of time given to do a job goes down, its importance and complexity go up. Just follow these 2 rules and you won't have to worry about how to use your time. You don't have to add extra tasks to your normal workday. Stop worrying about how much time you waste and instead pay attention to how far you get toward your goals, performing your assigned tasks as quickly as possible. This is a classic example of not knowing something on purpose to gain an advantage. In order to stay focused, it is helpful to make a list of what needs to be done and set a deadline. If you don't take this step, all of your free time will be taken up by small jobs. You will mistake being busy for getting things done. You will waste time jumping from one thing to another to keep yourself busy. You will feel like your company is in charge of you instead of the other way around. You will waste time because of habits or because you are trying to act like the people around you. You can and should also do the following 3 things to help you prioritize and finish the most important tasks first. First, ignore some things on purpose and give yourself a pat on the back for not filling your head with useless information. Shun anything that is unimportant, unnecessary, or beyond your ability to change. Less is more should be a guiding principle for how you live your life every day. Think about how much time you could save if you didn't read anything at work that was mean, useless, or just not in your field. 2. Spend less time with the news and other forms of media. This means immediately stop reading the newspaper. Don't look for news on the internet. 1 hour a day is all you can watch TV for fun. No books may be read, except for a short piece of fiction before bed. This may seem harsh, but the point is to drive home the point that your time spent on news and current events is time wasted. Instead of wasting time watching the news, it's better to spend time with your family and friends, work toward your goals, and talk to your partner. If you want to know what's going on in the world, you can either ask your coworkers or look at the headlines of a newspaper as you walk by a vending machine. After a short time on a low-information diet, you might be surprised to find out how much time you've wasted without even realizing it. Follow these 3 easy steps to master the art of selective hearing. Don't waste your time listening to things or people. If ignoring it won't hurt you, do it with all your heart. Check your email only twice a day and get rid of as much as you can. Make sure your workplace has 2 separate phone lines. One for regular calls that goes straight to voicemail, and one that only people who are likely to have questions or concerns right away can use. When it's your turn, you shouldn't waste time with small talk and chit-chat. If possible, reply to voicemails through email. That's also how meetings go. If you must leave a meeting early, excuse yourself and make a plan to catch up with a coworker later. If that doesn't work, decide ahead of time when the meeting will end. Don't let just anyone come into your office. Do the things that take a long time all at once, because this will save you time in the long run. By batching or dividing the time it takes to get multiple jobs ready or running at the same time, you can get more done. Tell your employees to take care of customers in any way they think is best without checking with you first. As an illustration, you may set up a rule that says if an issue is found and the cost to solve it is less than $100, they should do whatever has to be done to fix it without consulting you first. You would have successfully outsourced a lot of your communication tasks, such as email and phone calls, in this way. Also, this shows that you trust your coworkers to be able to make good decisions on their own. With this vote of confidence, these people can show how good they are at what they do. In the end, your work helps both your clients and your teammates. Idea 7. Automation. If you can make enough money to support your lifestyle without putting in a lot of time or effort, you'll have more time and energy to spend on the things that really matter to you. Here, the most important things to learn are: having a mobile workforce can lower operating costs and make the business easier to get to. Figure out how to have the majority of your tasks outsourced. The rules for not making a choice are simple and easy to understand. The second part of an NR way of life is having a steady stream of income that doesn't require much of your time or attention. If you want to live the luxurious life of your dreams, you need a steady source of cash. Finding a well-paying job is the conventional solution, even if it means putting in more hours than is ideal. That is not how the NR think. Instead, they work on making an automated system for making money that can work on its own and bring in money without any help from the user. First, get to know what VPAs are: virtual assistants. When you apply the 80-20th rule to your own life, you may find that you spend a lot of time on things that don't help you in any way. Instead of accepting things as they are, you could hire a good personal assistant to help you with some of these tasks. The best way to reach this goal is with a virtual assistant who is always available. It's not hard to figure out how much this is worth. If you make $50,000 a year, an hour of your time is worth $25. 9-to-5 job usually lasts 50 weeks a year. If you can find a great assistant for $30 an hour and have them work for you 8 hours a week, saving you from having to work a full day, the total cost is only $40. How about a 3-day weekend every week of the year for only $40 a week? If you can find a virtual personal assistant for less than $30 per hour, the math gets better. The internet has made it possible and easy to find a large group of people who can help you with all of your tasks. When you have more helpers, you can get more work done, and you also have more time to do other important things. 2. Figure out where you can make money in the market. After learning how to use a virtual assistant well, the next step is to find a good niche product so that you can set up an automated way to make money without needing your time. In order to do that, first, pick a part of the market you can afford to go after, and then look for a product that people in that part of the market are likely to buy. Trying to create demand is a lot harder than trying to meet it. Find out who you are selling to, what their problems are, and how you can help them. Second, think of a few things about the product that you can say in one sentence. Set the price of your goods between $50 and $200 to reach the most people. Keep your product simple so that it can be easily explained online. Most of the time, you can to resell something, you have to buy it in large quantities and then sell it to end users for more money. You should get a license if you have the money. Make something that is totally new. Keep in mind that you may feel like you have to provide a service if you've worked in the service industry before. It's fine, but you can't make as much money with it. The best plan is to turn your knowledge into a physical product that can be made in large quantities and sold to a large number of people without you having to do any extra work. Third, set up a test market to show that it will be profitable. Before you spend money on production or stock, you should test your product on a small scale to see how interested people are in it. The best way to do it is to 1. Look at your strongest competitor and come up with something better than what they already have. Develop a simple website with just 1 to 3 pages to showcase your offer. Find out what you need to do to stand out and then go do it. 2. See how customers react to your offering in the real world to ensure there is a demand for it. There are a number of clever ways to do this. Start a 48-hour eBay auction and see how many people are interested in your item. If you don't have anything to ship, you can cancel the auction at the last minute. Make a simple Google AdWords campaign to get more people to visit your website. If you spend no more than $50 each day, you can run the campaign for at least 2 days and no more than 5. Third, add up all of your successes and get rid of any big mistakes. If you find that there is a market for your product, you can start selling it automatically through a Yahoo shop for about $99 per month plus a small transaction fee. Use a service like www.paypal.com if you want to accept credit card payments online. To keep a steady flow of customers coming to your product website, you also need to do more pay-per-click advertising with Google AdWords or Overture. You could try out different kinds of print ads to see what works and what doesn't. Try out the MBA, Managing on Vacation. Remember that your goal from the start was to build a business that could run without you. To do this, you need to set up a business architecture that allows you to stay out of the way. Your main goal is to be able to run the business while you're not there. Setting up systems so that tasks can be done without your direct help is the key to management by absence. To make this happen, we need to 1. Give all parts of your business model to specialized companies that can step up their involvement as your sales go up. There are many options for full fulfillment services. You can find out who works in this field by going to your local printer or going to www.msanet.org. 2. Let the various outsourcer teams talk to one another and figure out how to fix issues without you in the loop. At first, you may give them written permission to handle only the simplest, least expensive problems without consulting you. However, as you get used to their work, you will eventually remove all restrictions and let them handle any problem that comes up. Idea 8. Liberation. When you're free, you can take your work with you wherever you go. Once you know how to do this, you'll be able to see more and learn more about the world. The most important parts of freedom are: get away from your boss who is too controlling and cut ties with anything else that is holding you back. It's better to learn how to take several shorter retirements during your working life than one long one at the end. You need to find something to spend your time and energy on in life. The third and final part of the NR way of life is mobility, which you can get by getting good at freedom. The NR way of life is built on 3 things: time, money, and being able to change things up. If you have a steady source of income, it's natural to want to get out of the 9-to-5 routine and travel the world. Here's where the NR creed shines. You let yourself start enjoying the journey right away, while everyone else works hard to build careers so they can have a successful and happy retirement. First, make yourself disappear and get away from your boss. If your boss wants you to be at work from 9 to 5, you can't live the NR way. If your new automated source of income is well established, you might feel safe enough to quit your job and jump right into your new life. If that's too big of a step for you right now, try letting yourself miss work twice a week without worrying about getting fired. You can do that by taking the following steps. First, you should talk to your boss to find out what kind of training would make you more valuable to the company. Consider asking your boss to pay for a 4-week training course that will help you improve your skills. So if you suddenly left the organization, they would feel like they lost you even more. Second, after you finish the course, take the rest of the week off by calling in sick on Tuesday and Wednesday. Then do your work at home on those 2 days and write down everything you do. Make a short list of bullet points that explain the benefits. Third, tell your boss that you were surprised by how much you were able to get done while you were working from home. You should try it again for 2 days a week for another 2 weeks. It's important to note that the boss can stop this at any time. Then start working on making your home office a more productive place to run a business. Fourth, set up a meeting with your boss to talk about how your work from home turned out compared to what you usually do at the office. I think you should try working from home 4 days a week to see if the progress you've made can be kept up. You should make it clear that your employer can change the agreement at any time if they're not happy with it. Fifth, your boss should keep a regular schedule of follow-up meetings where your work is closely looked at. Ask if you can make your arrangement to work from home more permanent. Your boss should agree to your idea if you can show that it will increase productivity in a way that makes business sense. Still, if he or she says no, you may have to quit rather than risk the situation. If this turns out to be important, you will worry about a few things. Doesn't this feel a little bit too final? If you're good at what you do, you can always find a job that pays about the same. The question: asterisk, how will I pay the bills? This won't be a problem if you set up a few ways to earn money without doing anything. If you haven't already, get rid of all the fat and think of new ways to make money. Options are always available. What about my health insurance and retirement? Get your own dental and health insurance from whoever you want. You will spend between $300 and $500 a month at most. For example, if you want Fidelity Investments to take care of your 401k funds, the transfer process shouldn't take more than 30 minutes. I can't lose my job right now. A training program paid for by your company and get the skills you need. So if you suddenly left the organization, they would feel like they lost you even more. Take the next 2 days off work after the training is done. Then do your work at home on those 2 days and write down everything you do. Make a short list of bullet points that explain the benefits. Don't you think this is a little too long? If you're good at what you do, you can always find a job that pays about the same. Where do my medical coverage and retirement funds stand? Get your own dental and health insurance from whoever you want. You will spend between $300 and $500 a month at most. For example, if you want Fidelity Investments to take care of your 401k funds, the transfer process shouldn't take more than 30 minutes. Start taking regular breaks from work. Why not try it out before you officially retire to see if you enjoy it? Traditional vacations aren't as good as mini retirements, where you leave for long periods of time to see the world and try out different ways of living. Instead of saving everything for retirement at the end of your career, you spread it out over the course of your work life, maybe over 20 or 30 years. There are some good things about short retirements. It's much more relaxing to stay in one place for a few months than to keep moving around. You won't be able to watch life from the comfort of a hotel. Instead, you'll be a part of it. If you live overseas for a long time, you won't have to pay as much each month for things like memberships, subscriptions, rent, insurance, eating out, etc. This will save you money. Most of the time, currency conversions work in your favor. Making retirement for a month is a great way to clean up your personal and professional life, which is a huge plus. When you put your things in storage, which you'll have to pay for while you're gone, you'll need to think carefully about whether or not you really need each one. Many things that got together by accident will be thrown away. Do the following things to get ready for a month-long retirement trip. 1. Get rid of all of your stuff 3 months before you leave. Examine your possessions and your financial obligations. Take an honest look at your possessions and determine which 20% you utilize 80% of the time. If you find out you really need something like a car or a house, you can always go get another one. Get your money in order and your life will be easier. Use your time well by doing something you'll enjoy. After planning your life around a 4-hour workday for a while, you may start to feel bad about something you can't quite put your finger on. One reason could be that you can finally do what you want with your life while everyone else is still stuck in the 9-to-5 routine. On the other hand, you might have too much time on your hands, which can make you feel bored and alone. If something like this does happen. 1 second, take it easy. This is by far the least of your worries. Think about the problems that many other people face every day, and you'll see that this isn't a big deal. 2. Make the most of your new place by learning something new, like the language, the customs, or a new sport. 3. Choose a meaningful way to help and serve others. You could do this by making anonymous donations to a service organization of your choice, or by giving your time to a cause you care about. It is this time to think about how your life has gone so far and plan your next steps by looking at your dream lines again. 5. Don't worry about philosophical ideas that can't be changed. Instead, focus on the things you can change.
Love this book summary? Watch the full summary in our app. If you find that reading has become your chore, then you need Morfosis. Our app delivers key insights from nonfiction books and easy-to-digest animated summaries. With our 7-day free trial, there's nothing to lose. Get the knowledge you need without hours of reading. Start your free trial today by clicking the link in the description below.